Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers, top 5 reasons fans are rejecting Kane's big comeback. The Young and the Restless, Y&R, spoilers reveal that Kane Ashby's return to Genoa City has fans on the fence. Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? A recast is sometimes controversial and sometimes refreshing. In this case, the fantastical nature of Kane's return, with Billy Flynn in the role, has had hiccups, perhaps affecting how fans accept the character. There are a few holes in the plot about his grand return that is making it hard for fans to digest the comeback as it's been presented. Here are 5 of them. 1. Questionable means. Kane credits his father Colin Atkinson with helping him to become an overnight gazillionaire with trains on all 7 continents. Because rail travel didn't lose status like the horse and buggy. We have no way of knowing the truth of this claim, since Colin is supposedly dead and dead men tell no tales. Besides that, Colin was a 2-bit swindler. Anything that Kane has by way of Colin is immediately suspect. 2. Kane's wonky skill set. Even if Kane had help reaching the summit, he's had to manage the subsequent wheelings and dealings all by himself. Does he have that kind of skill set? Is he really on Victor Newman's, Eric Braeden, level, as the show would have us believe? What is this? 3. Lily is the reason for everything. Apparently Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, is the reason behind everything Kane has done for the last 6 years. Why? They have been divorced for a long time, and apparently in contact via co-parenting their twins. In all that time Kane never thought to ask her out for coffee or take her to a Broadway show as a sign that he's interested in her? 4. Where is Sam? Kane and Lily have referred to their twins, Sam and Maddie, but nothing has been said about Kane's son, Sam, the result of an affair. Much has been made about the mistakes that Kane made that ruined their relationship. Shouldn't his indiscretion be addressed? Or should we forget that Sam ever happened? 5. Who wants Kane dead? Kane dragged Chancellor, Connor Floyd, all the way over to France because he thought his life was in danger. He told the detective that he needed his protection, and yet it was Chance who ended up being killed. What is this? Everyone is now back in GC, but the whole Kane is in mortal danger plot has been dropped. That's just sloppy storytelling. Now it's your turn. What do you think of Kane's return to Y&R? Be sure to catch up on everything happening with the Young and the Restless right now. Come back here often for the hottest Y&R updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable, and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. Y&R fans revolt. 5 shocking reasons Kane Ashby's comeback is falling flat. The Young and the Restless has never been shy about resurrecting familiar faces from Genoa City's past, but sometimes those returns don't spark the fireworks producers were hoping for. That's exactly what seems to be happening with Kane Ashby's big comeback, and fans aren't holding back their feelings. What was supposed to be an exciting revival of a once popular character has instead turned into a divisive storyline that has viewers questioning whether Kane belongs in the current canvas at all. While there's no denying that Kane once played a pivotal role in the show's family and business dramas, the landscape of Y&R has shifted dramatically since his exit. Now, his reappearance feels like a puzzle piece forced into a picture where it no longer fits. As the online fan community lights up with debate, the reasons for this backlash are becoming increasingly clear, and the discontent is louder than ever. The soap thrives on drama, but this time the off-screen drama among viewers might be bigger than what's happening in Genoa City. One of the biggest complaints surrounding Kane's return is that the timing feels completely off. Y&R is in the middle of heavy-hitting storylines involving Victor Newman's empire, the Newman family's battles, and the complicated Abbott wars. Against this backdrop, Kane's storyline seems like a detour rather than a natural continuation. Fans are vocal about the fact that he feels shoehorned into plots that don't need him, creating an awkward disruption rather than an enhancement. In a soap where every character needs a reason to be on screen, Kane's purpose feels murky at best. Without a strong hook that ties him to the current narrative pulse of the show, many viewers are asking why now and why him. It's one thing to bring back a legacy character who can stir up nostalgia and intrigue, but it's another to reintroduce someone without giving them a clear role in the ongoing chessboard of Genoa City power players. Another source of frustration is the lack of character evolution. When a beloved character leaves and then returns, fans expect growth, new layers, and perhaps a more mature outlook that adds dimension to old dynamics. Unfortunately, Kane appears to be stuck in the same patterns that defined him before his departure. His return doesn't showcase a man who has learned from past mistakes or developed fresh motivation, but rather a recycled version of the same Kane that fans already grew tired of. Instead of being invigorated by his presence, viewers feel like they've seen this movie before, and the ending wasn't that satisfying the first time. In a soap world that thrives on reinvention, this lack of progression feels like a missed opportunity and makes Kane seem dated in comparison to other characters who have evolved in fascinating ways during his absence. The chemistry factor is another sticking point. Soap operas live and die by the connections between characters, whether romantic, familial, or rivalrous. Kane's previous romantic entanglements, particularly with Lily Winters, were once central to his appeal. But with Lily having moved on and embraced new story arcs, the old magic just isn't there anymore. Attempts to recapture that spark come across as forced, and the audience senses it immediately. Pairing Kane with other characters also feels awkward, as if the writers are struggling to figure out where he naturally fits in today's landscape. Without organic chemistry with the established cast, Kane risks becoming an isolated figure on the sidelines rather than a driving force in the drama. For a show where sizzling chemistry is everything, this is a serious drawback. Perhaps one of the most damaging aspects of Kane's return is the feeling that his story is disconnected from the high-stakes drama fans are craving. Right now, the show is delivering major plotlines involving corporate takeovers, family betrayals, and life-or-death secrets. Against this backdrop, Kane's personal struggles and motivations seem almost trivial. Viewers tune in for the fireworks, and when a character's narrative doesn't measure up to the intensity of surrounding stories, it naturally falls flat. The sense that Kane is a side distraction rather than a central player is creating disappointment among fans who want every character on screen to bring the heat. Without a storyline that resonates with the bigger arcs, Kane risks being remembered as filler rather than a game-changer. And then there's the elephant in the room, fan fatigue. For years, viewers have watched Kane cycle through similar mistakes, betrayals, and redemption arcs. While there was a time when his resilience was admirable, that cycle eventually wore thin. Bringing him back without a dramatic reinvention only reminds fans of the frustrations they already had with his character. Instead of sparking excitement, it reopens old wounds and makes the audience wonder why the show is investing energy into a character they had already said goodbye to. In a soap that boasts such a vast ensemble and endless possibilities for fresh storylines, leaning on Kane again feels like an unnecessary retread. Fans are speaking loudly on social media, and their message is clear: they want progression, not repetition. The revolt over Kane Ashby's comeback underscores a bigger challenge that the young and the restless faces: how to balance nostalgia with forward momentum. Bringing back familiar characters can be a ratings win if handled with creativity and care, but it can also backfire if those returns feel lazy or disconnected. Kane's return is currently leaning toward the latter, but that doesn't mean all hope is lost. If the writers can quickly pivot and tie him into a storyline that matters, something that tests his limits, reshapes his relationships, and forces him into uncharted territory, there may still be time to salvage his comeback. Fans may be frustrated now, but soaps have always thrived on redemption stories, both on-screen and off. The backlash proves one thing: viewers are invested, and their passion is undeniable. They want characters who challenge them, who evolve, and who make Genoa City feel like a place where anything can happen. Kane Ashby may be struggling right now, but if the creative team takes this fan revolt as constructive criticism, his story could still transform into something that surprises everyone. For now, though, the verdict is clear: this comeback isn't the triumphant return that fans were promised, and unless something changes soon, Kane's latest chapter might be remembered as one of Y&R's biggest misfires. Not the return we wanted? Why the young and the restless viewers are slamming Kane's big comeback. When the young and the restless announced the shocking return of Kane Ashby, longtime viewers were buzzing with curiosity and anticipation. After years away from Genoa City, fans assumed the character's reappearance would bring with it jaw-dropping drama, sizzling romance, and the kind of high-stakes twists that make daytime television irresistible. Instead, what was supposed to be a triumphant comeback has quickly spiraled into disappointment, leaving audiences wondering if the writers miscalculated the timing, direction, and purpose of Kane's reintroduction. Across social media platforms, message boards, and fan groups, Y&R enthusiasts are voicing their frustrations with a rare intensity. The backlash is real, and it's raising an important question: did the show make a mistake in bringing Kane back at all? For many, the problem begins with how disconnected Kane feels from the current Genoa City canvas. Y&R has been firing on all cylinders lately with storylines that keep viewers glued to their screens: Victor Newman pulling strings from his corporate throne, the Newman family constantly at odds, the Abbott legacy tested by betrayal, and an undercurrent of younger characters creating fresh tension. Against such powerful backdrops, Kane's return feels oddly out of sync, like a note that doesn't quite fit in the symphony. When a character doesn't have a clear tie to the central narratives, their presence feels less like an exciting plot device and more like an interruption. Fans who wanted Kane back expected him to enter the fray with force, shaking up the power balance, stirring up rivalries, or bringing long-buried secrets into the light. Instead, what they've been given is a character hovering at the edges, struggling to connect. Another point of contention among viewers is that Kane has not demonstrated any meaningful evolution since his departure. In the world of soaps, time away from Genoa City often means characters return with new motivations, shocking secrets, or a reinvented personality that keeps everyone guessing. Unfortunately, Kane's reappearance hasn't shown audiences a fresh version of the character but rather a recycled version of the man they already knew, and, for some, already grew tired of. Instead of walking back into town as a force of nature, Kane has stumbled into storylines that feel redundant. Fans were hoping for a bold new chapter, yet what they see instead are echoes of the same patterns that defined his past. Without growth, there's little incentive for viewers to reinvest their energy into his journey. The romantic element, once Kane's strongest hook, is also falling flat. His pairing with Lily Winters was once one of Y&R's central love stories, but that ship has long since sailed. Lily has moved on, embraced her independence, and built new story arcs that don't involve Kane. When the writers attempt to revisit that dynamic, it feels forced, as if the show is trying to recapture a lightning-in-a-bottle moment that has already passed. Viewers notice when chemistry feels manufactured, and they are quick to reject it. Likewise, attempts to connect Kane to other characters romantically or socially come across as awkward rather than organic. In a genre where sizzling chemistry drives ratings and defines legacy couples, Kane's lack of natural fit with today's cast is a serious problem. Fans are also expressing frustration over the relatively small scale of Kane's drama compared to the high-stakes plots dominating the show. With characters battling for corporate empires, exposing dark family secrets, and plotting life-changing betrayals, Kane's storylines pale in comparison. Instead of feeling like a powerhouse return that commands attention, his narrative feels more like background noise. This imbalance creates the impression that the show brought him back without a strong plan, leaving Kane to linger on the sidelines instead of sparking the fireworks that his comeback promised. In an era when soaps must fight harder than ever for audience engagement, every character on screen needs to pack a punch, and right now Kane isn't delivering the knockout blow. Then there's the matter of audience fatigue. Kane has a complicated history with fans, many of whom have grown weary of his repeated mistakes, betrayals, and redemption arcs. While Y&R has always excelled at giving characters multiple chances to rise and fall, the cycle only works if there's fresh storytelling to support it. With Kane, the repetition feels tired. Rather than being excited to see him again, fans are left with a sense of déjà vu, questioning why the show would dedicate precious screen time to a character who has already exhausted his narrative potential. Instead of nostalgia fueling excitement, it has fueled frustration, reminding viewers why they were ready to move on from Kane in the first place. The backlash to Kane's return is more than just casual griping, it reflects a deeper issue about how soaps balance legacy characters with forward momentum. There is always a risk when reintroducing a familiar face. If the character isn't integrated thoughtfully, the move can alienate fans rather than energize them. Kane's return so far exemplifies this risk, serving as a cautionary tale for how not to execute a comeback. Nostalgia alone cannot sustain a character's place in the story. Viewers want evolution, surprises, and genuine connections that matter within the broader Genoa City universe. Without those elements, even once beloved characters can fall flat. That said, the situation is not beyond saving. Many fans believe that with the right twist, Kane's comeback could still be salvaged. Imagine if he re-entered Genoa City carrying a shocking secret that tied him directly to the Newman or Abbott families, instantly catapulting him into the center of the drama. Or picture Kane taking a darker turn, reinventing himself as a ruthless schemer who surprises everyone with his ambition and cunning. A bold storyline could reignite fan interest and prove that Kane still has a place in Genoa City. Soap audiences are notoriously forgiving when a character finally gets a compelling story, and Kane could benefit from such a redemption arc, not on screen this time, but behind the scenes with viewers themselves. The reaction to Kane's comeback also highlights the passionate investment Y&R fans have in their show. They want to be entertained, shocked, and moved by the characters they invite into their homes every day. When a return doesn't deliver, their disappointment is amplified because their expectations are so high. But this passion also means that if the writers manage to pivot and give Kane something truly memorable, the very same fans who are slamming his return today could be celebrating his transformation tomorrow. Soap operas are built on second chances, and Kane Ashby may just need one more if the writers are brave enough to give it to him. For now, however, the verdict is undeniable. Kane's comeback is not the return fans wanted, and unless Y&R takes a bold step to reinvigorate his story, his latest chapter may be remembered as one of the show's most lackluster revivals. Genoa City thrives on drama, and while Kane has the potential to bring it, the question remains whether the writers will take the risks necessary to make it happen. The fans have spoken, and their message is clear: give us a Kane Ashby story worth watching, or risk losing us altogether. Kane's return backfires, the top 5 complaints fans can't stop talking about on Y&R. The Young and the Restless thrives on shocking twists, explosive returns, and storylines that keep viewers on the edge of their seats. But when it comes to Kane Ashby's latest comeback, fans aren't cheering, they're groaning. What was supposed to be a thrilling reintroduction of a once-beloved character has instead triggered backlash across social media, soap blogs, and fan forums. Instead of welcoming Kane back with open arms, viewers are slamming the execution of his storyline, arguing that it feels stale, unnecessary, and painfully out of touch with the current Genoa City canvas. The backlash has only grown louder with each passing episode, making Kane's comeback one of the most polarizing story decisions of the year. Let's dive into the top 5 complaints that fans just can't stop talking about, and why Kane's return is sparking more outrage than applause. First and foremost, fans say the timing of Kane's return couldn't be worse. Y&R is currently stacked with powerhouse plots: Victor Newman pulling strings behind the scenes, Nikki fighting for stability as her marriage faces constant tests, the Newman siblings clashing for dominance, and the Abbott family embroiled in yet another round of corporate intrigue. In the middle of all this, Kane feels like a misfit addition. His story doesn't connect to the major battles unfolding, and that disconnect makes his presence feel random at best and distracting at worst. Viewers tune in for the explosive boardroom wars and heartbreaking family betrayals, and Kane's comparatively low-stakes drama feels like it belongs on a different show entirely. The complaint here is clear: without a strong tie to the main action, Kane risks being reduced to filler, and fans aren't happy about it. Another major grievance is the lack of character growth. Soap fans love redemption arcs and reinvention, but they expect characters to return with new depth, secrets, or motivations that make their presence essential. With Kane, it feels like nothing has changed. He's fallen right back into old patterns, echoing the same personality traits and story beats that audiences have seen countless times before. Instead of shocking viewers with a bold transformation, he's offering reruns of a storyline they already know, and one many were ready to leave behind. Fans are vocal about their disappointment, saying they wanted a Kane who had evolved into a game-changer, not one who looks stuck in neutral. When a character returns, there should be an undeniable sense of, this changes everything. With Kane, fans argue, nothing has changed at all. Then there's the chemistry problem. Once upon a time, Kane's love story with Lily Winters was one of the cornerstones of Y&R, a romance that gave the show some of its most emotional and memorable moments. But that chapter closed long ago, and Lily has since moved on with new storylines and relationships. Attempts to revisit Kane and Lily feel forced, almost as if the writers are trying to squeeze nostalgia where it no longer belongs. Beyond Lily, Kane's interactions with other characters haven't sparked much interest either. Pairings that should feel fiery or intriguing instead fall flat, making his presence feel isolated rather than integrated. Chemistry is the lifeblood of soap storytelling, and without it, Kane risks becoming an outsider who doesn't belong in today's Y&R landscape. Fans are also complaining about how small Kane's storyline feels compared to the show's broader canvas. At a time when other characters are embroiled in high-stakes plots, corporate coups, shocking betrayals, and family feuds that could change legacies, Kane's arc seems underwhelming. It lacks the gravity and urgency viewers expect from a major comeback. Instead of shaking things up in Genoa City, Kane's return feels like background noise, a side plot that doesn't demand attention. Fans are frustrated because a comeback should mean impact, and Kane hasn't delivered that. In fact, many argue his storyline could be cut entirely without affecting the larger narrative, a damning critique in a soap where every character is supposed to bring something vital to the table. And finally, there's the simple truth of fan fatigue. Kane Ashby has been through countless ups and downs on Y&R, and not all of them were beloved by the audience. From messy betrayals to endless redemption cycles, many viewers feel they've already seen every possible version of Kane's story, and they're not eager to relive it. Instead of excitement, his comeback has stirred groans, with fans saying they were ready to move on from Kane years ago. Bringing him back without a radical reinvention feels like reopening a book that had already reached its final chapter. So while some viewers may have welcomed his return, the louder majority are voicing what they see as the inevitable truth: Kane's time in Genoa City has passed, and his comeback only proves it. Together, these complaints paint a picture of why Kane's return has fallen so flat. It's not that fans hate the character entirely, they simply hate the way he's been reintroduced. Soap viewers are passionate, loyal, and deeply invested in the storylines that unfold on their screens, and they expect returns to mean something. When a comeback doesn't deliver the excitement, drama, or reinvention they crave, the disappointment is palpable. For Kane, that disappointment has turned into outright backlash, with many calling his storyline one of the weakest points of the current Y&R season. Still, soap operas are nothing if not unpredictable, and Kane's story could turn around if the writers take bold steps. A shocking twist, a surprising alliance, or a dark reinvention could all breathe new life into his character and prove that his return wasn't a mistake after all. For now, though, the audience consensus is clear: Kane Ashby's comeback has backfired, and unless Y&R makes some daring moves, his latest chapter may be remembered as one of the show's most disappointing revivals.